Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler. This time we keep looking at these Star Wars spin-offs with Star Wars Clone Wars. Not the Clone Wars, not the cartoon series that began in 2008, but instead Clone Wars, the Genndy Tartakovsky series, also referred to sometimes as the Clone Wars Micro Series. Now, this was a series that aired on Cartoon Network. They were very, very short overall. You basically had the first two seasons, if you want to call it that. The first two series of these had episodes that only ran about 3 minutes long, 2 to 3 minutes long. And then eventually you got an end of season 2 that had an episode that was more like 7 minutes, followed by a season 3 where each episode ran from between 12 and 15 minutes. But there were never episodes that really aired on their own in their own little time slot. They were just kind of slotted in between other programs here. Season 1, which is the first 10 episodes, the first 10 chapters, aired from November 7th through November 20th of 2003. Season 2 ran from March 26th of 2004 to April 8th of 2004. Then finally Season 3, which ran for 5 episodes, but granted they were longer episodes, ran from March 21st through March 25th, just 1 week in 2005. So we have Attack of the Clones in 2002, Revenge of the Sith in 2005, and in 3, 4, and beginning of 5, we get 1 season each of this series meant to sort of bridge Attack of the Clones with Revenge of the Sith, though of course it would wind up conflicting with other things like Labyrinth of Evil and whatnot, and these days now conflicts with another series with a very similar name, The Clone Wars. But c'est la vie, that's sort of the way Clone Wars continuity has become at this point. Now, this was an interesting series. Genndy Tartakovsky really brought sort of a Samurai Jack feel to this, which is what he had been working on previously. We have voice actors that are not familiar to a lot of folks today because they're not the same voice actors from The Clone Wars, but a lot of voice actors familiar from video games. Matt Lucas, Nick Jameson, people like that involved in this. Though some made the jump between the two, like Tom Kane doing Yoda, for instance. It's definitely a series that has its detractors, but I think it's pretty decent overall for what it tried to do. A quick, fun little 2D animated style of series here. Now, how you can get this on home video, there's actually 2 releases with one oddball that a lot of times people forget about for this series. So let's take a look at those because that's what we want to focus on here with From the Star Wars Home Video Library. If you want to see some in-depth discussion or hear some in-depth discussion of this, check out republicforces.com and go into the archives. Republic Forces Radio Network, a podcast of which I was a part until its end in November of 2013, did some retrospective series looking at Ewoks and droids and Clone Wars, the Clone Wars micro series. So dig back into those archives. You can hear what I and other people as part of that team thought of this series. But home video-wise, what you got here to begin with was Volume 1. Volume 1, decent little package here. You could buy Volume 1 on DVD in 2005. There is no equivalent VHS release or anything like that. It's just on DVD. And this one includes Seasons 1 and 2. So the first 20 chapters, the ones that were all pretty much 2 to 3 minutes long with the exception of the last one of Season 2, in which General Grievous makes his startling, powerful debut before being completely emasculated and turned into a wussy in Revenge of the Sith and the Clone Wars cartoon series, the other Clone Wars cartoon series here. This one, kind of neat. I like the cover on this. You get that nice split between the Separatists and the Republic and sort of the mirroring back and forth. Not exact mirroring, but pretty close to it. The back gives you details on all the features that'll be in it, which I'll detail here in just a second. On the inside, you've got similar art for the disc, right? One for Separatist, one for Republic, at least in terms of color scheme from the cover. Basically, Obi-Wan versus Dirge and Anakin versus Ventress. And you have a little art slip that has your chapter labels on the back. Now, the weird thing about this is what it did with some of the chapters. When originally airing, you had 4 chapters in a row that showed, well, the battle on Munilist, or the Battle of Munilist. You had this sort of opening montage in Chapter 1. Then we move to Munilist and follow the battle that's going on there, led by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we carry that through Chapter 2, 3, 4, and then it stops. And we jump away to an episode with Kit Fisto, then a couple episodes about the origin of Asajj Ventress. When released on home video, they inexplicably flipped the order of 2 of those chapters. They basically made it go montage and beginning of Munilist in Chapter 1, then the regular Chapter 2 and 3, and then instead of Chapter 4 being Dirge's introduction on Munilist, followed by Chapter 5 being Kit Fisto, they flipped it. So now it goes Kit Fisto, then jumps back to Munilist for one episode to introduce Dirge, and then jumps to where we get our 2 episodes about Asajj Ventress. My guess is this was done so the Kit Fisto and Ventress ones weren't back-to-back, so we didn't get away from Munilist for quite as long as we did in the original airing. But why bother? Why at this point? Now on home video, one thing you will notice is there's no, previously type of segments or previews of the next episode incoming. They take off the opening and the endings and run them all together. So the only episode that gets a beginning credits is the first one. The only end credits are at the very end of the entire thing. It's run together like a feature, but otherwise not screwed up and edited except for that weird chapter 4 and 5 flip that goes on. This certainly works much better in its feature-length form than any of the stuff we saw with Ewoks or droids in some of our previous recent episodes of this video series. As for bonus features, you get trailers on here. A trailer for Revenge of the Sith, a trailer for the Revenge of the Sith video game, and a trailer for the video game Republic Commando, which was leading into Revenge of the Sith on Xbox and whatnot. You also have some extras on here. You have a demo for the Republic Commando video game if you stick this in your Xbox, if you still have the original Xbox sitting around. There's also 2 featurettes, one called Behind the Scenes, another called Connecting the Dots. This made for a nice little bargain buy for some really, really cool Star Wars content. I'd certainly buy this before buying any of those droids or Ewoks things that are out there. But this, of course, was only Seasons 1 and 2. What happened to Season 3? Because its episodes are longer, it gets its own release as Volume 2. Again, kind of a similar cover style here with the older Anakin here, the longer hair Anakin seen there. Backside gives you all the details about what's in it. Pop it open. Individual art instead of split down the middle there for the label. And then you've got your little art meets chapter breakdown on the back. Only 5 chapters this time around, where much of the time is spent on Nelvan, named after Nelvana, which is the company that made the Holiday Special cartoon and the Ewoks and Droids cartoons that we looked at here recently. Now, on this one, you get a trailer for Revenge of the Sith, one that runs about 2 minutes and 25 seconds long. You get a trailer for Battlefront 2, a video game being released around this same time, and a video trailer for Empire at War, the PC real-time strategy game. You also have extras on here. You got some still galleries. You got another Xbox demo, this time for Battlefront 2. You also get a Connecting the Dots featurette on this one as well, along with one of those LEGO specials. We're going to be taking a look at LEGO specials later for those individual, full half-hour releases. But there had been a LEGO special called Revenge of the Brick that didn't get its own individual home video release. It did show up here. It's a bonus feature on Volume 2 of the Clone Wars micro series. So you can check that out on official home video, not just bootlegs and stuff out there like you sometimes still see with that at conventions. It did get an official release, just not by itself. It's part of this one. Now, those are the 2 we're used to thinking of when we think of the Clone Wars. We've got Volume 1, Volume 2. That's it. That's all 25 chapters. Why, yes, it is. But it's not all the home video releases of that. For the last home video release, though, you got to start thinking in terms of toys. For a while there, okay, in 2004, there were some lightsaber toys being released. And these lightsaber toys were packaged with this. Star Wars Bonus Lightsaber Action DVD. Includes 2 chapters from the Clone Wars animated series, The Legend of the Lightsaber, and more. On the back, nothing special, just copyright information and stuff there on the bottom. Mine may look a little bit different from the regular ones. I think it's pretty much the same. Mine is actually a Revision 2 proof version. This is a little tag saying that it is. It's got the product ID number, the date of September 29, 2004, SW Electronic Lightsaber with DVD as the product name, comments, Revision 2. This proof represents final packaging. Any changes may result in additional changes to the committed budget and may cause delays to the production schedule. Good to know. Good to know. The disc itself, very bare bones looking here, just Star Wars Bonus Lightsaber Action DVD, made in China, and it says includes and says the same stuff that it said on the cover there. What this includes, if you were to dig for it, and I don't have the lightsabers, I just picked this up, this revision proof copy off of eBay a while back, knowing it's the same contents, so that I didn't wind up having to buy the actual lightsabers. This one has some trailers to it. It's got 2 different trailers for Hasbro Star Wars toys. It's got a trailer for the Star Wars Trilogy DVD box set from 2004. It has 2 episodes of the Clone Wars micro series, chapters 1 and 8, just kind of randomly chosen, it seems like here. It also has an extra entitled Legend of the Lightsaber, which is not, as some websites, like for a while Wikipedia, claimed, the same thing as the Birth of a Lightsaber featurette that's on the DVD set from 2004. This is a completely different little featurette that you only get on this product. Now, for those who don't believe me and say, he's just lying, what would be the purpose of that? But I've had people say that to me when talking about this whole listing in many places of Legend of the Lightsaber. It's the same thing as Birth of a Lightsaber. Let's say this. Let's check out the first few seconds at least of this special so you can tell these are not the same thing.
This weapon is your life.
The lightsaber has always been there to signify a more romantic time when there was more honor and more virtue in hand-to-hand combat.
See? Now pop in your 2004 DVD, not the same item. Cool little featurette, though not really anything to write home about. Pretty neat little package here, but honestly not something to really spend a lot of money hunting down. But if you can find one of these for cheap, or you can find the lightsaber with one of these packaged in it cheap on eBay, hey, cool thing to add to your collection. And from what I can tell out there, this is it for the Clone Wars micro series. It's a very easy collection to wrap up once you find that bonus lightsaber action DVD. With that, we'll wrap up this particular spin-off, but the spin-offs continue in our next episode. Episodes 26 through 37 from the Star Wars Home Video Library will focus exclusively on The Clone Wars, the cartoon series from Cartoon Network that aired from 2008 to 2013, and its home video releases that went with it. For now, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.